is Brittany Greene. I'm a sophomore sports marketing major at Clemson University. For the Library 100 class, I recently attended the student dialogue, which was about body image. It was titled "Mirrors the Mirror's False Reflection." And it was supposed to talk about sort of how you see yourself and other people, as in physical appearances, like how much they weigh, how physically fit they are. But we more talked about how people see other people, the way they're dressed. Like, do they dress weird? And do they wear black pants all the time? That kind of thing. And so overall, we had a pretty good dialogue. I feel like we definitely did achieve a dialogue. People were open to talking to each other, sort of discussing, this is what I think, or this is how I see it. How do you see it? That kind of thing. I felt our leaders did a very good job when we first went in. We did an icebreaker game where you had to state a fact about you, and if someone else had like the same fact, they'd get up and you link arms and you formed a chain. I felt that was really neat because it sort of showed everybody in that group that, hey, there are people sort of like me here. I'm not completely different from all these people. And sort of other than that, we talked about how, like, when we came in, we sort of sat down with people that we could talk to easily, that we felt comfortable around, that we felt like we could get along with. And so that was an interesting thing to think about, that the fact that we judge others or like judge, okay, I think I should fit in with them, when we don't even think about it, we just do it. And so that was a really neat perspective. It was mostly girls, of course, because body image, not me, guys, when I go to something that they think they're going to be talking about body image. But there were about 2 guys, and both guys in the group brought very interesting topics, as well as all the girls. There were definitely some more active voices in the group. There were some that, would just state their opinion no matter what, and which occasionally that was a little bothersome, just because it felt like, although you're not supposed to judge in the group, you felt like at some points they were judging others. Like I talked about, I know, for instance, we were talking about self-affirmation, how you need to feel good about yourself, that kind of thing, for like certain things. And I was saying how some people, some girls especially, feel they must have a boyfriend to fit in. And because I know, me not necessarily, but some girls I do know have stated, I feel like I don't belong, or I feel not as special as, like, if I don't have a boyfriend. And so that was one thing that sort of was a little difficult, because I did speak up about that. And not necessarily I didn't get axed down, but some girls just sort of blew it off like, oh, no, that's stupid, that's not true. And so other than that, it was a pretty good dialogue. We definitely did achieve the true dialogue. There were some quiet voices. You could tell some people were still, I think some people were intimidated by the more active voices, because there were definitely some girls, in there, they were going to speak their mind. And then so I think some of the other girls that are, like, you could tell were a little more shy. They sort of were quiet and more of the, like, passive learners, where they're going to sit there and listen rather than speak up. I think the dialogue is a good component for Library 100, because I know one of my classes this semester, English 212 with Mr. Swords. That class, it's strictly dialogue based. We read the books that we're supposed to, but instead of him lecturing about the books, we discuss the books ourselves and sort of learn and analyze the books. And I feel like if I had not done like the student dialogue, I would not be more open to that, or I would struggle with that more, because that was a good stepping stone. Okay, this is how some college classes are gonna be. It's definitely a good topic. And then also, I thought it was very interesting, since it is required for transfers and freshmen. It's interesting to see like the freshmen's point of view, because I know, for one, since I did do like bridge last year, I've already been in college for a year. It was sort of interesting to see, like, hear fresh voices, sort of like since they haven't been in college, they don't know exactly what all happened. So it was sort of interesting to hear their perspective of things and how they see things, and then for the transfers to give them advice or put our perspective in there. Not, I wouldn't say a more mature perspective, but it's definitely a different perspective once you have been in college for a year. You don't have the same wide-eyed, new experience that you had a year ago. Um, in the dialogue, I felt like I did speak up. I just voiced, sort of talked about how I felt and did, voice the dialogue like they requested. Occasionally, there were some things I wasn't too sure I wanted to talk about. So at that point, I sort of sat back and listened and learned from others. But overall, I felt like I did have an active voice in the dialogue and definitely did talk about things that were important to me as a person and as a student at Clemson University. And I feel that was the most important thing, was to voice your beliefs, and so that way you can see that you may have the same beliefs, you may not have the same beliefs, but it's about being able to discuss them and have a dialogue about them, not just, oh, you have that belief, you don't fit in, that kind of thing. So overall, I felt the dialogue was a really good experience. I'd definitely do it again if I could, and I hope you enjoyed the video.